Xavier, welcome. Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you.
Congratulations, we're here to hear all about Cosmydor, your brand that you've just started. So, first of all, why don't you tell us how you... This is your first brand, so why don't you tell us how you started a brand?
Yes, I'm fascinated by heritage brands. Actually, I like brands and I like history. It's the perfect mix. So I was looking for a heritage brand which we call Sleeping Beauties, which are just waiting for an entrepreneur to give birth again.
Yeah.
And looking at magazines and archives, I found Cosmydor, and I must say I fell in love with it. So.
And you trawled the internet as well?
Yes. Well, there's a lot you can find. Really.
Yeah.
It's
the internet
amazing.
is bizarre,
Yes.
but amazing. So you find this brand, and when did it start originally?
It started in 1877, so it has this strange name, Cosmydor, with the first letters a little bit sounding like cosmetics, and you have or at the end, or, which means gold in French, which you find in Dior, of course,
yeah.
Which I think was really nice.
You've got this heritage brand. Very interestingly, you're about 75% vegan, you are plant-friendly, earth-friendly, you are organic, you don't use plastic, you tick quite a lot of boxes. Now, the original brand, did it have any essence of that to it?
Yes, quite, it's quite unusual, but originally the first formula that was presented, which you can find in a magazine in 1877, in a medical magazine in France, it mentions the formula is 100% natural, which is quite unusual because at the time no one really cared about it. So we managed to close the loop around that.
So it gave you a natural thread in a way?
Yes, exactly.
Something you knew you would want to do?
We wanted to do it anyway. I mean, seriously organic products. We wanted everything handcrafted, and of course as sustainable as possible. Mm-hmm. Vegan, we've got 75% of our products, as you said, are vegan, and the only non-vegan ingredient we use sometimes is beeswax, which is itself organic.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. So in a way, you took the heritage and brought it up to modern day. It hadn't been produced, what, for 40 years?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And did you say it was it seen more of a medical brand than a beauty brand?
It was more of a beauty brand. It became strong in soaps after a while.
Right.
We don't know why, to be honest. And we tried to keep that bit of the history by having our own solid soap range. So we have a lot of them, although, our key products are creams and balms and so on.
The visual that you use, obviously it's very obvious to me that you come from a branding background because your packing is beautiful. But again, can you tell me a little bit about the history of how you come to have, why it's important in Cosmydor?
Yes, it is important. One of the reasons why we picked that brand was because of its art and design sort of DNA. Part of it has other things, but that's part of the DNA. So we tried, and thank you for liking it, but we tried to have some of these, like a red thread from the past that you can still find today, especially with the patterns, which are, typical from part of the history where Cosmydor was really strong. So they are bits and pieces of the designs of the time that you can find now.
And the original designer was a famous illustrator in France.
So the first illustration was very famous, called Jules Chéret. He was like the French equivalent of Mucha, and he was very famous for this beautiful illustration that you can instantly recognize. And it's funny because in some forums on the internet, there are people who still believe that Cosmydor's illustration is one of the nicest ads ever produced, which is nice.
Tell me a little bit about the products you started with and why, because you've talked about the soaps and that's very much part of the DNA.
It is.
And you also started with the face selection.
Yes. So we have still the first range of face creams, which include a scrub and a mask, which we thought were like the basics. We also had, so that was 2 years ago, a series of balms, which are quite unusual products, which are basically done like whipped cream with this very interesting texture, and liquid soaps. So we started with that, and meanwhile we added a
you've added, can you tell us what you've added?
We've added serums, we've added cleansers, and we've added another range of creams which you can use for your face and your hands, which are in tubes.
Yeah, the beautiful tubes. What would you sort of recommend that people buy into in regards of, do they buy a cleanser, a moisturiser, a toner, I don't know if you do that, or a serum, or how would you say if somebody came to, okay, Xavier, tell me how to use your products?
I would recommend moisturization. I think that's, being a beauty brand, a skincare brand, that's the number one thing you have to recommend. The other thing is not to skincare, it's actually a recommendation of protecting your skin from the sun. And we don't do sun creams because we believe that actually they can incentivize people to stay under the sun, where the best protection is not to take any sun, if possible. So any of the moisturizing creams and the little balms as well are like a universal moisturizer. You can use them on your lips, on your nails, on your elbows, and
Right.
so these are the sort of basic products.
What do you believe is important in skincare? Because in a way, from what you're saying to me, although this is a beauty brand, it's actually very much about care, cleansing, care, in a way modern science within a traditional approach.
There is a strong element of that, you're completely right. We use like 1,000-old knowledge of plants, and also we use some very modern tools like chromatography in order to select the best plants, so we can be sure they have the most active ingredients. Two plants can be known for a similar benefit. Science can help us choose between these.
And also you can sort of splice from the plant exactly what you want now.
Absolutely. Some of the plants are, the root can be more efficient, or the flower, so we can select, and that's by using science.
And how was that for you, coming to your heritage brand and going, now I need to learn about skincare?
That's that's a huge industry. I know it from my background that it's full of marketing. So there is an element of trying to understand what's true, what's not true. There are some things that we don't like as customers, which I found we could not avoid. For example, the example I often take is the name of the product. So you have all these funny names with marvelous or amazing or blah blah blah, and actually there is a reason behind it. We are not allowed anymore to use names that include benefits. So you can't tell exactly what the cream or the product will do, because otherwise it's very complicated to prove. So you have to come up with these sort of funny names, and then you understand it when you research it.
What is very interesting in your skincare collection, for the face particularly, you don't have 100 steps, which is quite refreshing, because there is this trend now, it feels to me, that you must do like 10 steps. And I actually wonder if that's not more damaging to the skin, because we have a natural pH balance of 5.5 on our skin. So yes, you have to clean your face to get rid of dirt, but you don't want to strip away. So you're not using AHAs, and you're not talking about all these current buzz chemicals, which they are chemicals. Although a face cream is still a chemical, the more plant-based it is.
Well, that's right. So basically, we don't use any petrochemicals. There are chemicals in the sense, even water is a chemical.
Yes,
there's nothing synthetic. So the molecules that we use come from plants. Yes, you have to be careful. There is a certain amount of things your skin is able to accept. Usually when you use products which don't contain anything harmful, you can put 3 or 5 or 10 times moisturizing cream on your face, it will not damage it. So I think the routine is really about cleansing. You have to, especially when you live in a city with pollution, you have to. And then rehydrating after that is critical. These are really the basic steps. The rest is not always necessary.
It's quite refreshing to come to a brand and going, listen, I'm not saying that you have a serum, you have moisturisers, you have cleansers, but you're not working with, like you say, petrochemicals. It's very interesting because I see the brand being very much in tune with nature.
Exactly. I was about to say that. We think nature has everything we need. So, well, it's a choice to go for, chemical research, of course. We, on our side, we don't think it's necessary. We think it's everything's out there already, and everything is known already. I mean, not everything is known, but, we have everything we need already, apart from pure natural preservatives, which are another topic. But in terms of efficiency for the skin, everything's out there. We know the benefits of hundreds or thousands of plants. It's more a matter of choosing the nice ones or the best ones.
Yeah, it's like, in a way, you take a heritage brand and you can look at actually hundreds of years of reaction to natural plants and what they do, because there's enough herbology and out there. So it's really lovely to see that embraced, and not doing it because we're suddenly going, oh, we've got to be good for the environment, but actually having a brand that stands for that to begin with. Let's talk a little bit about preservatives. So we had this thing a few years ago where you can't use parabens, and everybody's scared of parabens. Parabens are bad, but we kind of know what parabens do, and then people start using preservatives that we don't know what they do. You're using more naturally derived preservatives.
That's correct.
Because there isn't a fully natural preservative yet, is there?
There is not an ingredient of plant that will ensure that especially cream, so as when there is no water, there is less contamination. Bacteria don't like it. So when there is water, there is contamination very, very quickly. So there is no plant that would avoid that as an ingredient for a good 12 months, which is what we use as a minimum. Otherwise, it's complicated. But we use naturally derived ingredients or plant-derived materials, which are all accepted by the organic certifications, because we believe they are safe. It is true that otherwise paraben is a strange story, because it is actually replaced by other things which could even be more harmful.
Exactly.
So, our choice is into natural things, so it's not our world.
But there's talk, I've heard from a chemist, that there is talk about naturally derived parabens. Companies are working on them, so they are coming, which is great news. Let's talk about your packaging, because your packaging is glass and paper, yes?
It's glass, paper, and aluminium. So no plastic container. That was our choice from the very beginning. We are 99.5% plastic free. We're hoping to be 100% one day.
And what about refills? Will you start to do that?
We already have refills for our liquid soaps. So the container is glass. It's a dark glass.
The dark glass preserves the essential oils?
Yeah, it's actually a dark violet glass, which prevents UVs from coming in the bottle, so it helps the formula. And the refill is an aluminium pouch, so it's very, very light. It's also
so people can send off for it. They don't have to come into a pop-up store or.
No, you can buy that online. I mean, it's.
And aluminium is actually one of the most recyclable products in the world.
It's recyclable for infinity. It's an amazing material.
Yeah, like glass is also recyclable. Amazing.
And they are, to me, the great advantage of glass and aluminium. They are not perfect because they require a lot of energy to be produced. Glass is a bit heavy, so the CO2 footprint is not perfect. But they're non-toxic. So they end up in the environment. They just don't harm. Because it's not just about it's not just about the fact that it's rubbish, it's that it's harmful rubbish. So that's a very good point. The way you talk about the brand, it is a beauty brand, but you talk about it very much almost like a health brand. How would you define it as a brand? We're still a beauty brand, and we're not allowed to talk about health anywhere because we're not under that medical regulation at all. We try to do the best in terms of the benefits for the skin. I do the basics as most men, which would be shaving by using one of our cold processed bar soaps, and no foaming things because they're not good for the environment. Really. And then cleansing in the morning, just basic moisturizer, cleansing in the evening, and night cream, which is one of our masks you can use as a night cream.
So you've got a mask that can leave on as a nice overnight cream.
And it's absorbed by the skin in a matter of...
And out of interest, the skin products that you've got, how far are they permeating past the epidermis?
It's actually a question for scientists,
Yeah.
and there is still debate about it.
Yes, that's why I ask.
We know it's coming through,
Mm-hmm.
and you can actually prove it. But still, as you know, the skin is actually our largest organ,
Yes.
and it is our protection. It is our frontier between ourselves and the outside world. So it is doing well. It's doing well in protecting us. But some things are coming through, and hence our choice to make sure we keep that to a minimum.
So hence, in a way, a moisturiser is still, in a very old-fashioned way, a barrier.
It is a barrier, and it's actually helping the barrier keep up.
Right.
And it's also helping the barrier look good, because this is still something very, very important to most people, is how they look.
So let's just finally talk about the packaging, which is incredibly beautiful. Can you tell me a little bit about the development of that and how it works?
Yes, so we worked with, so Cosmydor has its creative director, who's based in Paris. His name is Philippe Guillaumic, and we've worked in the past because we have a creative agency together. And so he's the creative mind behind everything we've done. So started with just redoing the logo, but he's always been inspired by the past and trying to be modern at the same time. So we try to keep this balance.
Right, so you took the DNA and you've modernised it. What font? It's really nice. Did you create the font or is it existing?
No, we didn't create the font, although we would have loved to do it.
Yeah, that's a long job.
But we're using a Brandon Grotesque across, all material website, and so yeah.
What's coming? What are we going to expect to see?
Sorry,
we're in your pop-up shop at the moment.
Yes, we are in a pop-up shop. In the pop-up shop, we are partnering with a French designer who's created some functional sculpture called Rails. It's called Rails Edition. And we like the fact that we are not in a beauty space or in a bathroom.
Yeah, it's almost like being in a gallery.
In a gallery, a living room, something like that. So it's a little bit unusual. We like that.
So let's just finally talk about the packaging, which is incredibly beautiful. Can you tell me a little bit about the development of that and how it works?
Yes, so we worked with, so Cosmydor has its creative director, who's based in Paris. His name is Philippe Guillaumic, and we've worked in the past because we have a creative agency together. And so he's the creative mind behind everything we've done. So started with just redoing the logo, but he's always been inspired by the past and trying to be modern at the same time. So we try to keep this balance.
Right, so you took the DNA and you've modernised it. What font? It's really nice. Did you create the font or is it existing?
No, we didn't create the font, although we would have loved to do it.
Yeah, that's a long job.
But we're using a Brandon Grotesque across, all material website, and so yeah.
Now, I believe there is a special project coming for the 4th of February. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So 4th of February we're launching a special edition of some of our packaging. So we've asked a French artist called Grams, who's a street artist and he's also a hip-hop artist, super gifted guy, to give his version of Jules Chéret, whom we discussed before. So the 1891 illustration is reviewed, reinterpreted in 2020 by Grams. So there will be packaging and also paintings, furniture.
So you'll have a pop-up store in
Paris, in Le Marais, and
that's where you'll first show off the product. How long will the store be there?
The store will be there for 4 days, and the products, then we have an exclusivity with Double Street Market in Paris. So they will have the products.
Right. And we're in your pop-up in Westbourne Park at the moment, and this is here till the end of January.
It is.
And what made you come to this area?
Oh, we love this area. That's where I landed when I arrived in London more than 20 years ago.
It's your home?
Well, not anymore, but it was. Yeah, I love it here. Love this place.
Well, just in regards to, outside of the new packaging that you're doing, which I assume is limited edition?
It is.
Do you have any product launches?
We have more products for the body, because we do have already a lot for the face, so we're launching body milks in April.
Right, lovely. Okay. So there's plenty for us to keep talking about.
There is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's been a
Fascinating.
pleasure.